Hey folks, it's Dr. Mike, and I want to take a few minutes to talk about building your medical exercise training practice. Now, we started the first certification for medical exercise and post-rehab professionals back in 1994 with our medical exercise specialist certification, or what we call the real MES. Don't be confused. There have been a lot of knockoffs out there over the last couple of years, and we have a large competitor that decided to use our name. Well, of course, because we've done it the right way, and we built a long line of successful medical exercise specialists out there that are doing great things. But even with those guys, the guys and ladies that built successful practices, they always had to kind of get that momentum going to get the practice off the ground, or to leave the traditional box gym to get out there on their own. So what I'm going to do over the next 30 days is help you move beyond where you are right now and start building a practice. It's great to get the certifications. There are plenty of certifications out there now for post-rehab fitness and medical exercise. But the key is you can get the skills, take the exam, but now can you build a practice? Do you know how to talk to that doctor, therapist, or chiropractor? Do you know what to say? Do you know how to communicate with them effectively? Do you know how to actually use a protocol to produce an outcome for a client? So what I want to do over the next 30 days is do what we call a 30 for 30. I'm going to spend the next 30 days, and every day for the next 30 days, and today is October 1st. So over the course of the next 30 days of October, every day I'm going to come on and give you an action or a step to take to build your medical exercise training practice. It's great to have a certification, but if you can't get any clients, it doesn't make any difference at all, does it, folks? And we've done this over the last 24 years. Our MESs are on 6 continents, and they've done some great things in every type of avenue or every type of setting you could think of. They build practices, and we've helped them do that. So these 30 for 30s, again, every day for the next 30 days, we're going to talk about what you need to do, the actions and steps you need to take to build your medical exercise training practice. So the first one is you need to be able to define what medical exercise training is, as well as defining your scope of practice and the goals of your program. Yeah, sounds pretty simple until you actually try to put it into an articulate fashion so that you can actually rattle that off to a doctor, therapist, chiropractor, or potential client. Makes a difference then, doesn't it? Huge difference. Then you got to also tell them your scope of practice and the goals of your program, or what the client is going to get from your program. So you can see now, this becomes one of the most important steps in building your medical exercise training practice. You've got to be able to explain who you are, what you do, how you do it, and who you do it to. If you can't do that, folks, people aren't going to utilize you. And let me give you an example. We're shooting this video on a phone, okay, on a smartphone, all right? Now, this smartphone now can shoot video, it can hold email messages, it can send emails, it can hold contact lists, it does everything. But folks, years ago, I was an adamant user of the flip phone. Yeah, I had my flip phone and I was religious. I was not letting that thing go because I couldn't see a need for the smartphone. Well, guess what? After someone took me aside and showed me what the smartphone was able to do and all the features of it, I was all in. I dropped that flip phone quickly, went down to the store and got myself a smartphone, and I've used it ever since then. Hence, we're shooting a video on it. But if you're trying to communicate with a doctor, therapist, or chiropractor, you may find you've got to explain and frame what it is that you do so they understand how to utilize your services. If you don't explain to them how to utilize your services, they're not going to use them because they just don't understand the concept, which means you must be able to define what medical exercise training is, your scope of practice, the goals of your programs. Literally, you're telling them, doc or therapist, this is where we fit in, this is what I do, and this is how I do it. And guess what, folks? That's the first major step. If you're not clear in your head with regard to who you are, what you do, how you do it, and who you do it to, the clients out there are not going to be clear on it either, and definitely the potential referral sources. So your first action to take is to sit down and be able to clearly define, be able to articulate it, be able to explain it to someone verbally, your scope of practice as a medical exercise professional, your role as a medical exercise professional, what medical exercise training is all about, and most importantly, the goals of your program. And that simply means the results the clients are going to get by utilizing your services, or the results the clients will get telling the medical professionals, here's why you need to refer these clients, and even tell them when and who to refer. Because folks, if you don't, they do not know how to utilize you. And we've learned that over the last 24 years. Now, we also have established a community for medical exercise professionals. It's called MedX Pro 360. It's the first community of its type, and it's a community for medical exercise professionals. It helps you with the skills, outcomes, and to generate profits so you have a successful practice. Now, you've gotten the certifications. We've seen a proliferation of medical exercise and post-rehab certifications, especially over the last couple of years. We've even had to battle a competitor in court because they decided to use the name that we've used for 22 plus years. That shows you just how big this realm is getting. But the one thing we found was our medical exercise specialists, post-rehab conditioning specialists, have done phenomenal things, and I think that's because we give them the framework to go out there and be successful. And one of the first things we tell them is the following: you've got to take action and take these steps to build a strong and profitable practice. So please join me again tomorrow, October 2nd. We'll give you another one of the 30 for 30 to help you build a successful practice. And if you decide you want to become a part of a community of like-minded medical exercise professionals, particularly our medical exercise specialists, go to MedX Pro 360, get signed up. We'll be glad to have you because, folks, here's what we know. This whole concept of medical exercise training is going to get bigger and bigger over the next 2 decades. The reason? Folks like me, the baby boomers. We want to do it at 56 what we did at 35. Okay, we want to keep doing that. We're going to have hip and knee replacements and arthritis and hypertension and diabetes. We need medical exercise professionals that are well trained, okay? Not just simply a skill set, but they understand where they fit in. And the first thing with that is to make sure you're able to define medical exercise training, also be able to define your scope of practice and role, and the goals of your programs. Basically, who you are, what you do, how you do it, who you do it to. So we look forward to seeing you. If you have questions for me, please email me at drmike@postrehab.com. And I hope this first tip helps you along your way of building a strong and successful medical exercise training practice. All the best to you, folks, and good evening.